Why did we hate each other so much?
You don't remember? You hated me.
Yeah, I know that. I'm saying, why did we hate each other so much?
You don't even remember why? Wow.
Look at your eyes.
All right, are you ready for these interrogations?
Yeah, sure. What are we doing this? Are we doing it today?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the vlog. You guys are gonna love this one because it is a Q&A with Stan. At the same time, we're just vlogging what we're gonna do today, which is our grocery shopping. So, for those of you who don't know us, we met right before I went to medical school, dated in medical school, got engaged in medical school. Somewhere in between, my mom hated him. We had 2 kids, moved in together, almost separated, and now here we are. So better, I would say. Do you think better?
Much better.
Much better. Much better than we were before. So I think it's hard to tell you guys how it's so good now without telling you how it was bad in the beginning in residency, specifically in residency, because I felt like I lost myself. Like I went from being nothing to a doctor to being a first time mom to breastfeeding to dealing with postpartum depression that wasn't treated and then just losing myself. So I felt like I lost myself in the marriage. What about you? I have my own theories, but I want to hear like from you specifically.
Well,
Where do you think that it went wrong or what was bad?
yeah, I don't know. Well, for me, it's always been communications where the main focal point is,
But
I
we
guess, of
still
that.
have communication issues. But
But we're a lot better
but
now.
we're at a better place. But I don't think that that's what the root cause was.
Um, Probably like, what was it? Obviously, it's when we had Wyatt as a baby, and I feel like you were just, you were. For me, I was like, you always would nag me all the time, and
So that you
you,
stop following.
you weren't nice. But I didn't. Overall, you're way nicer. You're awesome.
So you don't know why
You
you
can
dislike
you
me.
can enlighten me or remind me, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's right. Of course. But
So yeah, so my theory is, I'm not saying this is true or not, but my theory is that, for those of you who don't know, we were married for a year and I was pregnant by myself while I was in medical school, while he still lived in California and I was in Washington. And we didn't move in together until after Wyatt was born and I started residency. And so he went from a bachelor lifestyle, living by himself, going out whenever he wanted, hanging out with his friends with no other responsibilities besides himself, and then quitting his job, uprooting his life, moving to Washington for me and our family. And so his whole identity of who he was, and like him being a provider and a man and all the other things that he's supposed to represent, like flip-flopped, and then he didn't have a sense of identity for himself, becoming like this provider and all that stuff to becoming like a stay-at-home dad. And he's just like, what the heck is this little child, this thing that I am responsible for now? And so because of the internal conflicts of that, made you feel insecure, and then me being like not there as well, like put a damper on your
yeah,
like
I could totally see that.
support,
Yeah,
like, because then you're like, oh, she's not supporting me and my ego is already hurt, and like, so we weren't there for each other because we were at the worst points in our lives
yeah, that's true.
together.
Because when I first did move to Washington, I hated it, and then
He
then
had no
I had
friends.
no friends, and friends were like a big thing to me. Like I had a ton of friends in Fresno, and we would always drink, and Yeah,
Bachelor.
yeah, and then now I'm just a full-time stay-at-home dad. This little baby, and my life's over.
No more golf. No more sunshine.
No more golf. No more sunshine. Yeah. So yeah, all that definitely put a damper on things.
Yeah, so I felt like
Left me salty, I guess.
yeah, so each of us, I felt like until we were able to be more confident in ourselves, in our own identities, were we able to come together and support the other person in the way that they needed to be supported. And so how do you support the other person? Like, I am a big like, oh, it's not the way that you show love, it has to be the way that the other person experiences your love. And so, like, the love language that everybody talks about. What's your love language?
Mine? Yeah, I need to be told
Yeah.
things.
Words of affirmation.
Yeah, words of affirmation. That's it.
Mine,
You need to be shown more.
yes, mine is like physical touch and acts of service. All right, so now that you know all our mistakes, what would we have done differently, like, to have a better relationship while you have, I feel like everybody can relate to this, right? Because like when you have a busy schedule and when you have children or when you're in residency in med school, there's so many other things occupying your mind that it's hard to also focus on your relationship and how to nurture that and still have a passionate, like, exciting relationship instead of like what is comfortable and secure and just vanilla.
Yeah, my advice would be, obviously, if there's issues, to tap in more into that, like get to know what's really bothering that person and try to comfort them and make that situation easier, whatever it is. You're not gonna be on the same page probably all the time, but kind of put yourself in that person's shoes and vice versa. Talk a lot about things.
I think that's really good advice. Like, when you say like put yourself in the other person's shoes, I think you should really think like, oh, how does your partner feel when I'm saying this right now? Like, instead of like thinking about yourself and I'm still stressed out and he's not doing this for me and he's blah blah blah. I try to challenge myself to think like, how does Stan feel right now when I'm working these many hours, and think about like his perspective. What have I told him? What have not told him? And how would he be thinking and reacting in this particular situation? Yeah,
Spouses in residency.
So what's your advice for people who have spouses in residency, or the spouses of the resident?
Right. So I guess the first thing you think of as a spouse in that situation is you want to give them as much space as they can, and just let them, do them and study and whatever. You feel like they always want to be left alone. And for that was probably similar to my case too. That's what I thought, and that's what she wasn't getting, was just a little bit from me, just the little things of just scheduling like times to talk, or
he stopped dating me basically.
Yeah.
So I think what he's trying to say is that, like, for him, like, his way of trying to cater to my needs was to leave me alone, like to give me space to take care of everything around the house, to do the laundry, the dishes, and just clean in general. I literally told him during that time, I was just like, I feel like you're a really great roommate. And he hated that. Like, he hated when I call him a roommate. I was like, but that's what it is. Like, it's all platonic and it's not very like passionate or
yeah, I got to that
like
point.
Sexy anymore. Like, it was all like, oh, thanks, good job for cleaning. Like, I really appreciate it. And I did, but it's not like, oh, this makes me all hot and bothered by it. And so, like, for now, I feel like it's a lot different now. And not only is because, like, I don't know, we started dating.
Yeah, we just appreciate each other a lot more, I feel like.
Like, I'm a lot nicer to you.
You are a lot nicer to me. This is true.
Or your perception of my attitude is different.
I'm sure it's a little both, right? I mean, for sure that it was my perception, was I had a negative perception going into it, kind of thing. like, oh, she's gonna think this, or she's gonna do this, or so it's already, you're going into a situation already thinking the worst, or at least negative about it, instead of just being positive about it.
Yeah, so I watched this one YouTube video. I'll link it down below if I can try to find it, but it's like how to save your marriage. And you pretend like your partner is already doing enough. Like even if they're doing nothing, like just imagine that they're doing enough, and that all for a whole week, like all you try to do is to cater to their needs and make them feel as good as possible. And when you do that, the other person then is able to reciprocate, because they're all like, oh, she makes me feel good, so I try to make her feel good, instead of thinking like, you're not doing this for me, and like, why should I do that for you? But in your mind, you're just like, okay, he's doing enough. Like, how can I make him feel better? And then so I think when we get upset, I take that attitude and it gets better, because he's like, oh yeah,
It's like nurturing me.
Oh, God, there's so much nurturing. You need to be more of a cactus. So when we say communicate, so that the other person can feel your love, like, I don't think we ever talked about this, but I think it's important to talk about. So this is catching him off guard. What is it about me that you find appealing or attractive? So like, is there anything about me or us that you're like, oh yeah?
Well, I mean,
oh yeah.
well, there's just the fact that you're passionate in general about a lot of things. Like,
but I was passionate in residency.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just didn't see it as much. Like, I mean, I know you were, but
what am I passionate about now?
I mean, like just everything, everything, and like the whole. You're just passionate. You're just a passionate person, Just like with the kids, with just like working out and eating, the way you cook different stuff. It's cool. It's just But yeah, I mean, well, as far as the turn on part, it's for me. It's always been like if I'm happy, then you become sexier, more sexy than me. So it'd be like
okay, so
you're making me happy.
Yeah, so I just have to make you happy.
Yeah.
How do I make you happy?
You cook good food. You're nice to me.
How? Yes, I feel like I did that before.
No, you weren't nice to me all the time.
So like that's it. Like you just have to. So when you're happier, you think that I'm sexy.
Yeah, for me, yeah, I'm a simple man. It's more just like if I'm upset, then I'm not gonna, be more drawn to you.
Yeah.
But if I'm happier, I'm gonna be more drawn to you.
Okay.
Because it's not like I always think that my wife is hot. Like.
No.
That's never a question. What?
No.
I always think it like you are. Like if I see a bunch of girls in a room, I always think you're the prettiest one in the room. It's not. That's the truth.
Yeah, but then even before, like when you're like, fuck, I don't even want to hear her breathing because she's so annoying. That doesn't mean that
you're not pretty. Yeah, it's not like I don't look at you and be like, oh, you're ugly.
You're just annoying.
You're just I just hate you. I could still hate you and think you're beautiful or attractive. So.
Okay. Other things that you do that keep the spark alive. I think like texting just random things that are, rated R or inappropriate. Just like, oh, hello, he's thinking about me.
Out of the ordinary.
Out of the ordinary, yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
I think it's like once you've been in a relationship so long that you're just like, like I know them and I don't really have to try as much anymore as compared to like when we were first dating, and there's still so much to learn about each other and like explore new things and do all these new things, and so it's like still exciting. And so I think that still trying to do those things. I also think that it's important to be your own individual person. Like when you're too much together all the time, I feel like it just
doesn't allow you to grow.
Yeah. So I feel like, like how you always told me that I should go out with my girlfriends and like spend that time, and I feel like doing that makes you miss me more.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, and then if we're together all the time, then he'd be like, man, I see that every single day, it's not exciting anymore. And so like leaving sometimes, doing a girls trip, I think it not only like energizes you, gets good time with your girlfriends, and then coming back to the relationship like all new. I think it's also, we also do better when we have less obligations, like when we go on trips together, like when we went to Vegas, or like when we go like just mom and dad trips. I feel
Oh yeah, we had a great time.
I feel like it's better, it's more passionate, because we don't have to worry about like, oh my gosh, what are the kids doing, like we have to take care of all these kids stuff. So it takes us out of the roles of like being a parent, all these other obligations, and then it was just like us again.
Yeah, parenting's stressful.
Those are all our tips for this video. Let Stan know if you guys have any other questions. As you can see, he's a wealth of knowledge. So he'll help answer some of your questions in the comment section below. Also, let us know any of your relationship tips. We will start a series on like relationship stuff. Series. But yeah, I think it should be a series on like relationships and maintaining a relationship and keeping things spicy and being a parent and maintaining a relationship. So all of those things are really interesting to me to talk about. I will need help on like naming the series. I was thinking like stress and spice advice. Stress and spice relationship advice. Okay, but that's all. Thank you guys all so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe, join the family, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.